Yo, what's going on? How is everybody doing?
What's up, man?
What's good,
What's
man?
good?
You know
What's
what
good?
we're
Hey,
doing, man. You know what? You know what time it is.
What episode number is this?
This is episode 22. Deuce,
20.
deuce.
22.
Part
Yes,
number
sir.
8.
Welcome to the newest episode of Tribe Table Talk for all you that's listening and or watching. We are on reason number 8 of the most common issues in marriage. And today we're going to be talking about the topic of boredom.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get into a marriage. We have the excitement of the wedding and the honeymoon, and then there's a time where you move in and you settle down with each other. Maybe after a couple of years or so, you get into a routine. Boredom might set in. So this is what we're going to talk about: how to handle that, how to avoid a boring or a stale marriage, and what kind of things we can do to avoid boredom. So let's talk about it. Let's put it on the table.
My question is, how do you get bored?
I feel you. Good question. I think that we can get stuck in the routine. You know, I mean, everything ain't exciting 24/7. You know, you got to work, got to pay the bills. You know what I mean? You got to. I mean, unless you just got it like that, where you know you one of these 6-figure making millionaires that you can travel every other weekend and da. You know, most of us, the average person is working 40 hours a week. You know,
60.
Yeah, the average person or the average marriage, both people a lot of times are working full time. You know, so you know, fatigue sets in after work, and you know, we can just kind of get into a routine. So I think that you should kind of feel sometimes that something's getting a little stale. You need to do something, maybe spice it up, maybe, and that can be however that looks like. You know, making sure you have that recreational companionship. I think that's important. You know, so even if it's doing things together that you enjoy, that's key in making time for that. Maybe you and the spouse have a common mutual interest. You know, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe going bowling or going to play golf, or couples sometimes do things together that kind of keep that fun going. But even if you don't, you know, I think that having a thing that you guys can do and trying new things to kind of keep the marriage spicy and fun, like, you know, trying things that maybe you've never tried and doing it together for the first time, you know, stuff like that, you know.
Then that's the episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, that's a nice 3 minutes. Nice 3 minutes. Hey, so what happens? What happens though if you get married, and you guys were super excited, like the example you gave, and all of a sudden things start shifting, like you mentioned, work and all these other things start coming to play, and your spouse does not feel any motivation to do anything that you are interested in.
That's a good question.
What happens in those situations, and what is the best way to respond in those situations? So Kenny, I'm just throwing it out there. This is not true, but I'll throw it out there. I'll just use your name, Kenny.
Yep.
You may want to watch sports, and maybe you enjoy playing sports, and maybe you enjoy playing cards. I'm just making stuff up.
Right.
The wife doesn't like any of that stuff. And she was like, nah, Kenny, you do that. I don't want to do any of that. She may want to go do something else. She may want to just chill and watch a movie on Netflix. Right. That's how she feels, gets her energy or her quality time. And you feel totally opposite, where you like, no, I want to do something. I like watching sports on TV, but I want to go out and do something. And she was like, nah, I never want to do that. And you consistently get that type of response.
I love that question. Because that's a very relevant question, because you have real marriages that are like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? like
No.
divorce.
No, I'm kidding.
Man, you know what? I'm apt to hold the men accountable, but even if whatever gender that situation falls itself in, that person needs to snap out of that, man.
Yeah.
Because and I think if there's a situation like that, Freeman is here with us. How you doing, sir?
Good, Chief.
Because you got some, like I've seen marriages sometimes where it's like they've been together for so long that they just kind of get used to certain things. And you know, like you can get used to something and then somebody from the outside says something like, hey, that don't seem right. Like, you know, but it's like, oh, I don't want to make him mad, or, you know, that's just how he is, you know, but that's wrong to me. Like, I think that if you're a person who is just kind of like, you're one of those guys that just, you know, you want to sit down and watch sports all day and your wife want to do this and do that. You like, nah, you don't like that certain thing. Or it's like, sometimes you got to acquiesce and to keep, you know, to keep that person happy, you know, and sometimes you may have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. You may not, you know, my wife, for example, you know, like a lot of times in my marriage, Ernest, we kind of are that, you know, we don't really have a lot of the same interests all the time. And some of the times the things I don't want to go do is sometimes opposite to some things that she want to do. And, you know, she used to love going dancing. I'm not like, yo, let's go dancing, you know,
Dancing with the Stars.
But if that's like, if that's what makes her happy, I'm willing, you know, my love for her is willing for me to step outside my comfort zone. And, you know, do that for her if that makes her happy. And I will hope, or I would expect, hopefully the same reaction from her too on my end. You know what I mean? So rather than get it, you know, go ahead.
What happens though, because sometimes you can get to a place, it's unhealthy, but you can get to a place where you don't care about my happiness, so why should I care about yours?
Yeah,
it's an unhealthy place, and some marriages get there.
Yeah.
Right.
And if it's at that place, what happens? In the midst of, I'm bored with you, you don't care about my happiness.
Right.
Keyword happiness.
Yeah.
And so therefore I should not care about what makes you happy.
I can imagine a whole bunch of stuff goes on that shouldn't happen. You leave room for that enemy to come in there and you try to go and get happy. It might lead to you getting happy with somebody else.
Yeah.
That's why I assume if you're out there dancing and she dancing, husband at home, but you know, it's a dude out there that like dancing as much as she does, and they get to talking, and you know,
right,
she may end up calling him on Saturday night trying to dance. Like, hey, let's go dancing. You know, my husband chilling. He got the kids. We could be out as long as we need to go ahead and two-step and Millie rock and all that. So hey,
right.
Leave room, man. You leave room to let that marriage kind of slide a bit.
Right.
If
that's just my assumption. I'm sorry.
So D, Cal, and Kenny, but if someone is in that state of mind, though, right? The happiness state of mind where I'm bored with you because you don't make me happy. And because of whatever reasons, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this with me, you don't do that, blah, 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 blah. How do you come out of that place?
I mean, I think
is that an okay place to be?
No, I think a serious conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like there needs to be a serious, tough conversation. Like, hey, you know, I feel like my needs are being met in this area. You're not, you know, I need, you know, I've been wanting to do this, you know, I've been wanting to do that. And you don't seem like you want to, you know, compromise and meet me halfway, you know? So, I mean, man, you know, and if that person is still kind of want to be on the boring side or so, like, you know, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I think same thing, Kenny. You have to have some kind of conversation so y'all can get on the same page. And at the end of that conversation, one person's gonna have to compromise. So you know,
I'm not compromising.
If you're not the one compromising, like I said, that leaves room for something to happen, and it may be the end of your marriage.
Or let's say in a situation where the you know, adultery doesn't happen, you know, you're gonna have somebody that may still be with you, but might be unhappy, might, a lot of repressed emotions. And, like sometimes when we sweep things under the rug and all that stuff, you build down, and like it can come out later, and your wife may not be like 100% with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They there, but they might start thinking like what could be, and that's a bad situation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or looking at other situations like, man, look at him, he does everything with his wife.
So how do you come out of that though? Like nobody wants to compromise.
I don't know.
Like I said, I only got assumptions. I just know certain situations that I've seen, conversations have been had. One person may have been angry. One person may have a curfew. One person may have to call their wife and be like, hey, I'll be here at this time, this time. I'm here with these people because they like going out. If the communication ain't there, if you can't speak with your significant other or your spouse about what you're doing or what you're thinking or how you feeling, like that may not be a safe relationship for you, just because you don't have the space to express yourself.
Yeah, I think sometimes a spouse need to put their foot down sometimes. You know what I mean?
One, though?
Like the one who's being wronged in that area. So there's somebody who isn't compromising, or somebody who's willing to not turn the TV off, turn the game off, and do something with her. I mean, the other person need to be like, all right. I mean,
but you don't care. I don't care.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm playing the game.
The man will care once he ain't getting a home cooked meal. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing else. You don't get visitation for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't do that.
I'm just saying it may lead there, bro.
But like in a marriage context, like sometimes like, okay, all right, I got you. Like I'm not advocating like being vindictive or whatever, but sometimes you got to put your foot down. Like because there's some things that if the other person not compromising, that's like, oh, okay, I got you. You might not have a home cooked meal the next few days.
What does that mean though? Putting your foot down.
Hold on, Ian. Let's see what 40 Cal think.
Okay,
man. What you
okay,
think,
then we're
bro?
gonna come back to that. Go ahead, Cal.
That's my opinion though.
Oh, that boy muted.
Oh, he muted right now. We gotta get his sound together.
Not the mic.
Let it get his sound together.
Am I good?
Yeah,
good. Sound check. My bad. I missed sound check. No, I mean, that's tough, bro. When nobody's willing to compromise.
Yeah.
It's all about changing perspective. If one person's not willing to compromise, sometimes we need space. Sometimes there's just things like Kenny said, like when you push things down so far, you get to this point to where it's like nobody's willing to compromise. There might be some things that you still haven't discussed and that are just kind of dwelling in the relationship that pushes you to that point of just no response or no compromise or whatever it may be. But man, I truly don't have an answer when it's like nobody's willing to compromise. I don't know. That's a toxic place to be.
That seems like a rare situation, though, Ernest. Like usually, there's one person and the other one compromise.
No,
is there usually?
They get these unsaved relationships, bro.
People get divorced off these matters all the time because that's why it's number 8 on the list. Because number one, you're making me bored, and therefore you're not doing anything I want you to do. And the other's like, so
I'm doing right. I'm doing.
What I mean? It'd be different if the dude was like, yeah. Like you just said, oh, she liked to dance. I'm gonna go out and dance. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be a boredom issue. It'd be more of a he's trying, right?
Right.
He's trying. And only time I think, not only time, but I think issues can still happen even if someone's trying, if the person just lose interest in that person and finds interest in someone else because they have an emotional relationship somewhere else. But in the cases of divorce, maybe even for the case that we're talking about here, two sides are like, nah, I'm not compromising. One side's like, you're boring to me. Therefore, why are we together?
Yeah.
Let's move on. You know what I mean? And I believe this is even in Christian relationships. People get divorced based off happiness all the time.
Yeah.
And I think we have to dissect that word happiness and if that's even biblical. But before we get there, let's talk about putting your foot down. What does that mean?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so this is just my opinion. This is my opinion. I said this goes to the woman and the man. So not just the man putting his foot down. I'm saying like
Christina,
if
please
you
listen.
have a spouse.
On, I got some notes I need to take, bro.
Write this down.
This is just like an extreme situation. You know what I mean? Like if you have a spouse, I don't care if it's the woman or the man. If you have a spouse that's not willing to compromise on something that's important to you, I feel like that the woman or the man should put their foot down in some kind of way. You know, hey, you're not going to do this X, Y, and Z with me. That's really, really important to me. All right, cool. You may not get a home cooked meal the next day.
Oh,
that's just me though. I mean, you guys are welcome to disagree with me. Maybe you would say that's not scriptural. Cool. I mean, I'm not, it's not a hill I'll die on, but.
So is that what you would tell your wife? Oh, I ain't cooking tomorrow then.
She'll do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, dang, you know what? Eventually
you start compromising.
Exactly.
What you need.
Exactly.
I was just playing. Hold on, look, listen.
Right. Hey, but she, you know, she got the apology, or she got the, you know, it opened up the door, you know. So
yeah.
That's one thing. I mean, I feel that. I feel like if you get in the cold shoulder, or if you feel like, you know, like you get in the cold shoulder, after a while that gets old, and you're just like, man, how do I fix this? So I guess I can relate to that.
Right. It's like it's almost like, you know, it's almost like parenting. Like, you know, your child don't do what you want to do. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I got you. Bet you won't get on the PS4 today.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like that. Right. So, you know, like, because you got marriages that sometimes I see marriages sometimes where it's like I'll see a marriage and I'll see what they're going through, and I'll be like, she needs to put her foot down.
Yeah.
Or he needs to put his foot down because she's not acquiescing with this certain thing. You know, and you know, like sometimes it's in the case of this topic, boredom, you know, where such and such doesn't want to do this, or they don't want to do that. But this person's dying to do that, you know. They want to travel, but you know, or they want to go on a cruise and you scared of boats. Yeah. You need to conquer that fear, man.
Yeah. I get it. I think a lot of the natural way, if I was just being real, the natural way, probably in a lot of marriages, when you talk about putting your foot down, it's probably sexual.
Yeah.
Right. Because if there's boredom, ain't much happening. Right. So if your wife be like, nope.
Yeah.
And then you like, huh? You know what I mean? I think that might be the natural response. And a lot of situations that may push guys to straighten up a little bit. But I think go ahead. I
was just gonna say it can go the other way too, but it's something that I think sometimes, you know, needs to happen. But that, you know, just my opinion. But go ahead.
I got a story about going the other way when
what's that?
Both of them don't want to, you know, compromise and reconcile. And, you know, me being, we talking about a few years ago, you know, me being, you know, little Dion in the world, just stepping out into the world of dancing.
Oh, you're a dancer?
You know, dancing, and then becoming friends with married women. And, you know, I didn't do anything. It didn't go to that, you know, that other unsaved route, but no, just being the emotional support for people. And they end up calling you while you're with other people, and they all assume, hey, what y'all doing? You know, that lifestyle of, you know,
that's how it started.
You know, you getting pulled into something that ain't got no, you know, it ain't got nothing to do with you. And God had, you know, put that together. And what, you know, why are you the emotional support for this lady or this dude? Or that's a tough spot to be in, man. I'll just say that, you know, that couple is no longer together because she found emotional support from some other guy because they couldn't compromise.
Yeah.
And that was a few years ago.
Situation.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a dangerous place. I think if we talk about the root of boredom and then transition to exactly what you're talking about, D, like, so I heard somebody say boredom is the physical state of one experiences due to the lack of mental stimulation or activities to do or interest in one's surroundings, right? So it's the lack of lack of period interest of doing things that, I mean, that you personally want to do. There's no interest there in the other, or in your spouse, I should say, in this case. So I think it starts there, right? But I'll backtrack because I asked you guys some questions and I put you on the spot, and you guys like, I don't even know. I think
I'll remember them.
I think foundation is important, right? If you are there and you can come up and say, I'm bored. Your kids ever say that? Like, man, I'm bored.
Well, yeah.
And I'll be like, where is this bored coming from? And how do you define bored? And the truth behind it is usually rooted in something they want to do that they're not allowed to do.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I heard y'all kids say that.
Yeah. So your son gonna say it soon. Both of your kids gonna say it. Like, Dad, I'm bored. They all say it. I don't even know where it comes from, because I was like, how do you even define it? So I ask my kids all the time, what does that mean? And there's a root to everything. And I always tell them that being bored is actually healthy.
It is.
Having nothing to do and sitting still is healthy for you.
Yeah.
Because if you always need to do something or be a busy body, there's an unhealthiness to that, because a lot of times you don't want to sit in your own thoughts and just think about what's happening in your life. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we get lost in that and not seeing boredom as a place of healthiness. So that's one point. But the other side, I say foundationally, I think there's an issue, because if we're like, there's no compromise there, I always go back to Christ, and I'll keep it stupid simple, right? We all know John 3:16, whether you're saved or not. You know, for thou so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, whoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. But the key word in this, and you guys heard this before, if you have been in any Bible study throughout growing up, it says Christ gave. So right there is that if we don't have a posture of giving in relationships, we will run to a place of being uncompromising, where we'll never compromise. And that's really the mindset that we all have to have in relationships, is that you're here to give and not just to receive. And I think a lot of those relationships that are non-compromise, whatever the word is, unable to compromise, they are not in a place of willing to give, or they feel like they gave too much. And the thing about it, there's no level of your giving, because it's unlimited. Christ showed it by giving up everything. You know what I'm saying, Ken? You're not when I'm talking though. You got what I'm saying.
I'm trying to stop it.
You don't hear me. You got to do that.
You got to do the call.
My bad.
No, you good, bro. You good. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, absolutely. And there's, you have to temper your expectations too, man. Coming into sometimes these situations, people so used to, like, you know, watching these people get caught up in sometimes like this fantasy world, or these, you know, how marriages see on romantic comedies or something, like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes life can be mundane.
Sure.
You know, and so
they live in that Sex in the City life.
Exactly.
They want to be out there with what's her name? Sarah Jessica Parker and all of them.
Right. And marriage sometimes can be a little on the bored side, you know, but you know, I think that if you're always constantly seeking to be happy, you know, you're going to be disappointed, and you can get into trouble when you run into the expectation of your husband should always keep you happy, or your wife should always keep you happy. You know, there's going to be down times that you're going to have to weather. You know, there's going to be difficult times that, you know what I mean, that you're going to have to endure, you know, and that's the part of marriage I think sometimes people don't understand. Like there's going to be difficulties. There's going to be times where, you know, you might be a little annoyed by your spouse. You know, there's going to be times where, you know, it feels like you're just working and paying the bills. And then there's the fun times where you on vacation and you got money, and, you know, emergencies happen though sometimes, you know, like, you know, so it's like, what you have to, I guess, sometimes when people get into these situations where they divorce because of happiness or because of boredom or because of lack of happiness, it's like, what expectations did you come into? Were your expectations unrealistic?
Are you comparing yourself to another relationship? Which is how I think you can get there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and I blame a lot of it on culture sometimes too. I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
think, but
Yeah,
we live in like
Yes,
this
sir.
instant gratification culture
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
like, you know, we're always trying to feed our happiness, you know, and there's all these different things, you know, that play into that as well. Just in
That
our
social
society,
media life,
social
that
media,
instant like.
Where
How do you-
does this though?
looking
Where
at other
does
couples on social media, you know,
That's a good point.
comparisons.
Yeah.
And the hot
Truth.
girl summers too, man. You gotta
Truth.
you gotta look at them too. Like you said, that culture, your wife out there, your girl trying to live that hot girl summer with a girl, them girls trips, all that.
hot girl summer?
That's real. That's
Yeah,
real.
it is real. No, you're right. I think a lot of vanity, a lot of what is it? Covaciousness? Is that the word? I don't know my words this morning.
I don't know, bro. You
Oh,
said
I ain't never heard that
curvaceous, and we
word.
just got done talking about hot girl
Covaciousness, what-
summer. I don't
What's
know.
the
You
name?
said-
What's the word?
today.
What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. Curvaceous?
No, not Cavassier. That's a liquor. Cavassier.
That's
Come
all
on,
I thought
man.
about.
What's the word I'm
Curvaceous.
looking for? I
Like,
can't think of the word I'm looking for. Hey, my words are everywhere. I'm tired this morning.
You good, bro.
All right, I can't think of my words today. But anyways, I guess my question is this, y'all. Where do people get this place of saying happiness is key? Where does this place come from? And is it biblical? And people do what make you happy.
I'm gonna just say this, and this is what my wife told me. She told me that I don't give her joy, the Lord gives her joy, and you know the things that He's done. I make her happy, you know, physically, I guess, because you know I can do things for her in the now, but her joy is on what God is doing in you know her entire life.
Right.
So I don't know, bro.
Absolutely.
She hit me with that, and I was stuck. I was like, I got to reevaluate some things,
and so
I got to recalibrate.
I'm with it. So nowhere in the Bible says, do what you want to do to be happy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The Bible doesn't focus on your happiness. The Bible utilized the word joy and talks about rejoicing in the Lord.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that is key too, D. What you're saying there is that truthfully, that is where our joy is found. It should never be found in our spouse.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And if we elevate our spouse to that same level as God, we'll run to a place of feeling bored, hurt, a lot of pain because your spouse disappointed, because your spouse is going to fail you every time. And I think a lot of us allow our spouse to be that everything to us and take the place of where God should be placed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That idolizing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah. You took the word right out of my mouth. That board is on kind of holding your spouse up as an idol.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And when you kind of, like I said earlier, when you put that kind of expectations on your spouse, you're bound to be disappointed. And now you're hurt and broken, but it's not because of that person's necessarily their flaws, but because of you had, for some reason, unrealistic expectations on your spouse that they possibly can't meet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
that's how she hit me.
Yeah,
it made me think. I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Your spouse, I mean, and I will say something to that. Your spouse should give you some kind of joy. Your spouse should got to give you some kind of feeling of happiness, but it's like, where is ultimately what it, like Ernest alluded to, what is your foundation?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If your foundation is your spouse, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment and failure. You know, now obviously as believers, we're going to say that your foundation should be Christ. You know, your foundation should be on the Lord because He won't fail you. And in those times, and you have a God to lean on when your spouse does ultimately fail you in some way, form, or fashion. Yep. You know, so people sometimes without Christ, man, people are empty.
So they go out dancing and they go and get that emotional support from a
you
boy.
could tell when people are empty too.
Yeah, you're empty and you try to fill that void with all these things. You know, whether it's drinking it up, whether it's going out, whether it's this and that, spending money, all these things that give you pleasure, and because you're trying to fill that void that only Christ can fill.
Yep.
So sometimes people, I need some excitement. I need some, I'm bored, but it's really is just you're trying to fill that emptiness in your heart that only Christ can fill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. Hey, my word was covetousness. Coveted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I already
Covetousness,
talking about
yeah.
curvaceous. Y'all let me sound crazy out here.
I was
Bro.
like,
So,
curvaceousness.
curvaceousness.
I ain't know where you was
What?
going.
Hey, I saw the word in my mind. I couldn't think it through, man. My mind
Okay.
is a little slow this morning. But
Gotcha.
I've been up since 4. All right, but covetousness.
Like,
Desiring someone
Word.
else's possessions, what I'm trying to say. And well,
oh yeah.
you know what I mean? There we
got you.
go. There, I had to get that out. I was on the top of my head the whole time.
I'm just over here making up words.
I'm already like,
Bro. He said curvaceous. I'm like,
curvaceous.
huh?
You know what I
That's
mean?
he said.
It's
Like,
coveted.
oh, okay.
All right.
Do y'all
Curvaceousness.
ever get that notion, like, you may see a couple arguing or something, or a couple may have a business out there, and do you ever get that notion like, hey man, I'm just gonna mind my business, man, they over there wilding, like, so to speak, if it's a compromise they trying to make, like, I'm finna go and hang out with Dion.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not gonna hang out with Dion because you got stuff to do here at the crib.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dion said that he got this and this going on, so I'm gonna go hang with Dion. Well, you got these dishes, these clothes in your room, you got all this stuff going on. You got to clean up the house.
Yeah.
Dion, what you think? Like,
I don't get it like that. Though. I get what you're
yeah.
saying.
I see
dude.
what you're saying.
My response from my wife doesn't come out like that. It's more of like, you do what you want to do.
Yeah. That's a death sentence right there.
I was going to say that can mean something good or
That can
something
mean-
bad. In my case, in most cases that I've seen, it's been
good.
bad.
It's never good. Because I got to make a decision. I'm like, all right, babe. Yep. All right. You said do it. All right. I'm out.
I always try to keep, I try to stay out of people's stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dion, what you think, man? You got all this going. She can come too, but she don't want to come. It's like, y'all gotta work that out. I got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's tough.
But it's your fault. We over here arguing. Oh, you can't blame me for that. But
yeah. I don't know, man. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it just, I don't know. I don't know how to respond to your situation, but I think in those situations, I think from a mirror standpoint, I think we need to read the room. But I think on both sides, though, clarity and communication, right? I think naturally we have places in marriage where we guess what our spouse is feeling, both sides, man and female. And I think that could be a dangerous place too, of you should know how I feel. You know what I'm saying, Ken?
Yeah,
you should know exactly what I'm feeling inside. And you're like, and you guessing and you be guessing wrong. Or sometimes you do know. Sometimes you do know, like, if I go do this, she ain't gonna be happy. So I better not go. All right, fellas, I can't go hoop today. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations. You know what I mean?
And sometimes you do it anyways, and you're like, I just
deal
gotta
with
weather.
Consequences.
Right, exactly.
I did it because I wanted to.
I just weather the storm when I get home. I come in the crib ready to
come
clean
on.
the house.
Yeah,
you already coming in.
Yeah. Hey, babe, what you doing? I'm just mopping right now.
It's 3 a.m.
I'm just mopping. I'm just trying to get it done. You know
what you want for breakfast?
He said mopping. If she's mopping at 3 a.m, you better go and sleep somewhere else. You better go sleep in your car.
I was thinking about making your favorite pancakes.
Yeah.
You know what, the ones with the blueberries in them?
With 3 a.m. doing all that, boy.
Right.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we laugh because it's true too.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, what? Anything else you need? Oh man.
Wow.
That's true. Like, hey, babe, I know how much you hate doing groceries. Hey, I'll take care of that for you. Trying to build them brownie points.
That's if she's talking to you. You walk in, you be like, hey, babe, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know what's wrong. You
Right.
know what's wrong. You know.
Yeah.
All stemming from boredom. You being bored. And...
It can.
Yeah.
It definitely can stem from boredom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you start going out and like, this is just what I want to do.
So let me ask you,
think.
let me ask you guys a question. Have you ever in your marriage did something to make your spouse happy that you really wasn't a big fan of, but you did it for that person?
Every
Anybody?
dang day. What you mean, man? Every dang day.
That's how we live, Ken.
Shoot, man.
We all live like that.
Well,
Man, I'm
okay.
doing
So
everything to
let me
make my
narrow it
wife happy,
down
and I don't want to
to
do it.
okay. So I'm narrowing it down to like a specific activity.
Okay.
Like I gave the example of like my wife always want to go salsa dancing.
Okay.
I'm like, but I go anyways.
That might
Have
be kind
fun.
of dope, Kenny. That salsa dancing, boy.
Man, I did it about 4 or 5 different times, man.
How your hips feel, man? How your hips and ankles feel?
Oh, I can get down. That's not the
Okay,
problem.
that's what's up.
I can get
I'm
down.
gonna say mine, man. Grocery shopping, man. My wife got to go down every single aisle, bro. Every single aisle. We got to go look at the cheese. We got to look at the spices. Then we got to go look at the diaper racks.
You don't want to miss nothing.
Like,
you don't want to miss nothing. You don't want to miss nothing.
bro, we got to go look at the
respect it.
shoes that's on sale, and we ain't even buying the shoes. Like,
Yeah.
we got to go look at the bird food and the dog food,
Yeah,
the antifreeze.
You got to be like, hey, man, I'll stay with Eli. Go ahead, take care of them groceries, and I'll be here when you need help taking things into the house.
Man, it's tough, man.
Nobody, y'all got no Cal?
No, I like, my wife likes to do stuff around the house. She likes to, do new things. Like we just finished building a back porch, and I'm not super handy, but I can get down. But it's like,
Brad, that hammer, boy.
Exactly. I know what to do with a hammer, but that ain't always my favorite thing to do. And she like thrives on that kind of stuff. It's like, I want to do this to the kitchen. I want to do this to the bathroom. Yeah. Let's do this.
Channel on HGTV.
Yeah, it's like that's just something she's really passionate about. Just making the house look good and the yard and things like that. And that's not my favorite thing to do at all. But I do it because it adds value to our house, and it's valuable. Yeah. It's valuable time with her. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ernest.
Yeah. I think it's just different for me too, because my life is so different. She oversees the venue that we have, and I think that's really where she wants a lot of my time. You know what I mean? As a now in marriage, right? So I spend a lot of time there. I spend a lot of time. Like she's like, we need this done, this done, this done. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get all that done in 1 week. No way I'm gonna put up a new railing, lay it aside, fix this and that, and that in 1 week. You know what I mean? Ain't no way.
Rid of the popcorn.
But so that's where I spend a lot of my time, because I think that's where she at this point in time in our life right now, she desires my time in that area. When I can, and I think that's where it's at right now, because I mean it's all day. It's like boom, 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 boom. So doing special things, and the funny thing about special things, I do more planning of that than she does.
Okay, so it's more like the other way around.
Yeah. So I'm more of that side than she is probably. I'm more planning the date nights and all that type stuff because I like doing that. You know what I mean? I need time off. You know what I mean? Because I'm always running. So I'm like, I gotta take a vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you got to bust a move in a minute too, don't you?
What's that?
I said you got to bust a move in a minute too.
Yep. I could probably do about 10 minutes, and that'd be good right here.
I went into a situation in my marriage where it was like, I didn't feel like my wife was trying enough things with me that I enjoy. Yeah. So on the flip side of that, the salsa dancing and all that, I'll say, hey, let's go do this, because I enjoy this. You know what I mean? I want to try this, and I want to have that experience with you, and so a few weeks ago, me and my wife went bowling for the first time.
Oh, that's cool.
If you don't know what bowling is, it's like think football mixed with bowling.
Dope.
But instead of throwing a pin down a lane or aisle or a
ball.
A ball down the aisle. Did I say a pin?
Down the lane.
I didn't want to correct you. I wanted to keep going, man.
Yeah. You throw a football at this, at the 10 pins. And it's like whoever knocks down the pins first wins or whatever. So, but she didn't really enjoy it, but I was appreciative that she tried it. You know what I mean? So, because I'm the type of person that I want to try everything. I want to try something, even just for the first time. Then I know for sure I don't like it, or it's, we got to do axe throwing one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Man, that was dope.
We got a place here you can do all that stuff too. in one place. Axe
Yeah,
throwing.
yeah, they got.
Oh,
axe
your
throwing,
spot,
yeah.
right?
Huh?
Your spot.
In the basement?
No, we ain't doing it in the basement. No axes down here. We be in trouble.
Can I book an axe throwing event at Hidden Gem?
Nah.
Right. Can I aim at some glasses?
Maybe we'll see. You know, we'll talk about that later. But
Yeah.
not right now.
That's funny. Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
boredom, man. I think if I were to leave with any type of key points with around that topic here is, I always say it's a foundational thing. I think number one, we have to embrace that being bored in relationship can be a healthy thing. Meaning having moments where you just reflect on your relationship, having moments when you're like, man, I have all these desires, she doesn't. What are areas where I can be giving? Because that's my number 2 point, right? Christ gave, and he gave everything. Mm-hmm. Number one, look at it as being a healthy thing for reflection. But number 2, look at it as a place of giving in your relationship will help you alleviate from having boredom or boredness or whatever word I'm looking for to exist in your marriage. So number 1, healthiness and being bored. Number 2, giving. But number 3 is don't allow happiness to be your key focus in your relationship, because it's not, as a Christ follower, we should not be striving after happiness. We should allow Christ to be our joy, God to be our joy. Right. We find our joy in the Lord and the Master, but at the same time, we allow that joy to come out from the Lord to our spouse. So joy is that I feel the same, that I have the strength of the Lord in hard times and in great times, that God gives me strength. So I still can smile in the midst of it all. So that is what joy is. So healthiness and boredom, have a relationship of giving. But number 3, don't focus on happiness, focus on joy in the Lord. Or having joy in the Lord. So,
and I'm gonna say, you in a relationship, you ain't in it by yourself. It's you and another person. It don't make sense for you to just be selfish the whole relationship. Your part in being in a relationship, period, is to serve in some capacity. You know what I mean? What's the verse? I think Mark 10:45 just talks about how God gave his son. Jesus gave his life. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Let me think. Even the Son of Man didn't come to be served, but to serve.
Yeah.
And he gave his life to many.
The ransom for many.
So
yeah.
You're not in it by yourself, man. And you serving. I'm speaking to the Christians. I'm speaking to the unsaved, more to the unsaved people, because you don't have a foundation. And your foundation should be Christ. You just in this thing, living day to day because you like this person. Like you gotta get it together. Gotta get it together, man.
And on a more practical level too, I would say, to avoid boredom in a marriage, on top of the foundation, absolutely, that's first and foremost. Keep the general maintenance going. What I mean by that is plan regular date nights. Keep that fire and that spark in your marriage going. Plan regular vacations if you can. Do things sometimes to break the monotonous routine. If you are married, me and my marriage, at least, I've tried to have date nights at least once a month. That way we have time just for us, get a babysitter, and just reconnect, spark that fire again, have conversations, reconnect on a spiritual, emotional level. Yeah. So just make sure that in marriage, that you're doing those things to kind of avoid that, that boredom that can set in. You know what I mean? I'll just say those things are crucial. Go ahead, Cal.
No, I would echo everything you guys just said. As number one, for sure. But one thing that, one topic that we try to shy away from too is, if this is really a real issue in your marriage, and this goes for any issue, and it's really detrimental and it's causing the marriage to fail, it's like seek counseling. I would definitely recommend seeking godly counsel from a godly marriage, godly couple, or pastor or something like that. But sometimes you don't always have the answers, and you don't know how to work through those those problems. So sometimes you need that third party to come in and give you to help you, give you some options to help you figure out how to get through or whatever you're going through.
Especially if they're trying to live a certain way and you like, things in turmoil and, things are a little bit chaotic at home and you like, man, how the heck am I doing this? Like, what do I need to do? And you see that example of that godly couple. I mean, they, it might not be perfect, but they got a foundation. They got somewhere to stand on.
Yeah. And especially if you don't have a foundation for yourself, sometimes you just need that extra punch. Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in the conversation a little bit too. Because I thought about this earlier, but I didn't bring it up. But we got to make sure as husbands and wives that we avoid boredom in the bedroom too.
Facts.
Oh, that was given.
You know what I'm saying? So however that look like, spouses,
don't mean add nobody else, man. All y'all out there trying to add some spice and all that, and trying to add a third party that way. Don't do that, man.
Yeah, don't. Hey, sometimes you need to listen to your spouse. If you say you're getting bored and you want to try something new, hey, be open to it, and vice versa.
Look at Ernest over there on mute.
However,
look at him. What you doing over there, bro?
You know what I mean? Like, however that looks like. Maybe your husband want to try this. Maybe you want to try this.
Man, you bring this up at the very end.
That's what I say. I'm gonna throw a little wrench in there. But
it's been at the top of it. You know what I'm saying? We talking about all this boredom stuff.
It had to be said. It had to be said. Because that, hey, a lot of times the bedroom can get stale. You doing the same thing over and over again. And sometimes,
sometimes that's the root.
That's the root, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes, and there can be unrealistic expectations there too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Past relationships that the person may be comparing them to. But I feel like that need to be said. Like,
I'll say you got to go in that space with a plan, man. You can't just go in the bedroom with a plan. Sometimes that plan may need, a little bit of coaching. You may need a coach. She's the coach. So you got to, flip it, do your thing sometimes. You got to ask like, hey, what you like? What would you like today? You got to, serving once again. Serving.
Yeah.
What would you like today? Oh, would you like the appetizer, or would you like the,
I have no idea. I don't know what we're talking about right now. I don't even know what it means.
Boredom. What Kenny was saying.
Switch it up. Yeah.
Boredom, the sexual stuff. Sometimes you may need to ask what it is that they would like.
Hey, that's real though.
I got you, D. No,
that's real.
Hard time. You just start talking about appetizer and entree.
No, it's funny.
Hey,
I got you. I got you though, man.
Sometimes all you need is a little bit more spice or excitement in the bedroom. You know what I mean? And I think Dion is right though. Like, sometimes those conversations can be somewhat awkward, but sometimes you got to be like, hey, what do you like? What do you enjoy?
Man, you my wife. I'm gonna tell you everything.
I like when you do this. Hey, listen, and women too. Like, sometimes a man want to try something different that he never tried before, and that might make his whole week.
Are you throwing hints out there?
They're not hints. They just full out.
Out in the open with it.
Hey, look, I'm just speaking in general terms. I ain't throwing no signs of nothing.
That can make all the difference.
Terms.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Dion.
No, I'm just saying I'm speaking in general, bro.
Man,
I ain't throwing no signs. She's straight.
I'm speaking to both.
Yeah,
I'm speaking to husband and wife.
No,
you know what I mean? Because that can make all the difference, man. If it's fun in there, make everything else in the marriage easy. You know what I'm saying? And why not
add no people?
Why not? Why not? Like if your wife want to try some. No, I'm saying if the wife want to try some, why not? If it makes that person happy, right? Like if the wives or the husband want to try something, if he's dotting if he's checking off all the boxes, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think I'm joking and laughing with you guys, but I do think that sexual healthiness between husband and wife, having conversation creates sexual healthiness, right? So having a healthy sex life and communication is key to having a healthy sex life in general. So I joke with y'all, but I 100% agree. And that area. And I think sometimes we have a lack of communication there too. And having dialogue in general about sex in general will bring more healthiness in a marriage. So
Yeah.
Kenny
Yeah.
brought it up right at the end, and
Yeah,
you know people was
man.
probably
Yeah,
listening,
man,
like,
listen,
man, what
listen.
about the sex, man? What about the
They gotta-
sex?
They gotta get all the way to the end of the episode to get that part.
They'll be all right, man. They'll be all
Or
right.
you
know
gonna
what
put
I'm
you gonna
saying?
put a comment on there. Wait till the end.
Yeah.
Watch
Yeah.
till the end.
Watch to the
the
end.
end for the
yeah.
sex.
For
Man, I
tips
thought this was
on
a Christian podcast.
Surprising ending.
Surprising.
You won't believe what Kenny said at the end. You know?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's funny.
Yeah, man. It goes to the bedroom too, man. So you know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Hey,
It is
man.
what it is.
Go ahead and you know what I'm saying, wrap up the package, man. Get us up out of here, man.
Yeah, I got steps
Pray-
from the table.
Pray us out. Pray us out, Kenny.
All right. Any other last parting words?
The sex. No, I'm just kidding.
Lord, just thank you for another episode. And I pray for every person who may be watching, couples, husbands, wives, soon to be married couples. I pray that you will give them wisdom. I pray that their foundation ultimately is you. If they don't have that foundation, I pray they give their hearts to you, God. I pray people come in repentance and know that you are the only foundation that really lasts. And you are the only foundation that stays when the storm comes, God. So I pray that us as people and those who may be watching, that they don't have you, that they get you, because there is no other way. Every other way is bound for failure and destruction, God. So I pray that those who don't know you come to you. And I pray that in marriages as believers, we find you as the source, as the foundation where our joy comes from. Temper our expectations, Lord. Help us not to be so fleeting for happiness, something that comes and goes. Let us be rooted in you, God. So we love you and we thank you. We pray that just blesses every person that watches and or listens in your name. We pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's the tribe.
All right. I'll let y'all for the next episode.